food safety training for the staff. Introduction. The reasoning behind food hygiene and safety practices is not always obvious, but it must be performed rigorously to be efficient and legal. Because of this, staff must be correctly trained and supervised to an appropriate level. In this module, we will cover the following topics: the importance of training, staff induction training, ongoing training, staff training records, the role of management. The importance of training. By law, every food business must ensure that their staff are trained to the correct level of their responsibilities. Management and supervisors have to assess the level of training required and hold and provide proof that such levels have been attained. Training must, above all, be suited to the employee's position and necessary skills. For example, a chef will have a different set of duties to waiting for staff. Regulation, EC, number 852/2004 on the hygiene of foodstuffs currently provides the regulations which govern this subject. It ensures that food businesses make sure their staff are adequately trained, supervised and instructed to the correct level of hygiene standards required. Staff training has three main levels which are categorized according to the level that management believes their staff will probably need. This is a Level 3 course, for example. Level 1, or Category A, training is the lowest level of staff training. It is most practicable for staff who are relatively unskilled and not directly involved in food preparation. You will receive this training if you are a waiter, busboy, bar person, warehouse person, kitchen porter, checkout person. The most basic knowledge of food hygiene is all that is necessary for these roles, but must include the essentials of general cleanliness, personal hygiene and pest control. Level 2, Category B, is for food handlers engaged in the preparation of food backstage, who will need a much better understanding of food hygiene and safety practices. They include kitchen assistants, chefs, food counter and stall staff, workers on a food production line, for example, sandwich assembly staff. Level 3, Category C, is most appropriate for managerial and supervisory staff who need to understand and implement HACCP as well as have the deepest knowledge of practical food safety in a food business. A standalone HACCP course should also be recommended for such staff. Staff induction training. Thorough induction training should be undertaken by all staff on starting work in a food business environment. It must cover the essentials of food cleanliness and hygiene, such as hand-washing procedures, what to do if first aid is needed, how to report an illness, smoking and the law, how to clean as you go, prevention of contamination and cross-contamination, safe food preparation, basic food hygiene law, correct methods of food storage, waste disposal hygiene, health and safety at work, reporting of faults, damage or problems, relevant details of the HACCP and FSMS of the business concerned. Ongoing training. After the initial induction, On-the-job training is also essential for staff, along with refresher training. This will make sure that knowledge and experience remain adequate, appropriate and up-to-date. Timetabled health and safety courses are an excellent way of ensuring ongoing training. Necessary information in such course should include causes and prevention of biological, physical, chemical and allergenic contamination risks, causes and prevention of cross-contamination, maintaining personal hygiene and dealing with illness, temperature control and protection in food storage, safe waste disposal, cleaning and disinfection, methods of control and prevention of pests. A supervisor must make sure staff training is kept up to date. Staff are encouraged and motivated to maintain standards and improve vigilance when needed. They inform staff of changes in the business's policy or the law regarding food hygiene and safety. They spot any shortcomings in staff skills or training. Such deficiencies are rectified quickly. Review the recommendations of all inspections and audits. Maintain the flow of communication with staff by requesting feedback or suggestions for improvements from the shop floor. Take action on staff recommendations or comments. Staff training records. Staff training records are a legal requirement. They show that management has kept on top of the necessary levels of skill and knowledge that their staff need to safely perform their tasks. Supervisors are usually employees who maintain staff training records. These must be completed every time a member of staff finishes a training course. If local authority enforcement officers visit the premises, training records must be up to date and accurate and available to be inspected. They may well become part of your due diligence defense if any legal problems arise. The role of management. Management can include several parts of the business's hierarchy, including supervisors, head chefs, line managers, managers, business owners and proprietors. They are responsible for making sure that all workers are fully aware of their responsibilities towards food safety and hygiene, and supervisory staff are in the front line of that endeavor. Staff training can be seen as a kind of investment in the company's future, so the business should see a return as part of this. In other words, staff must be seen to put their training into action to improve their work quality and skills. Communication is the essence. You should remember that there are many different personal approaches to this. Try different methods of communicating, be patient and sustain simplicity and clarity in questions and instructions. It is also a good idea for supervisors to bear potential communication difficulties in mind. Language barriers, educational attainments and levels, limits of staff responsibility. A supervisor might want to try different communication strategies to ensure the smooth running of training and staff relations. Regular, preferably timetabled, staff meetings. Feedback sessions are meetings and projects. On-the-job training with intermittent inspections. Group training sessions, both formal and informal. Paying patient individual attention if there are difficulties. Occasional spot checks on training. Summary. In this final module, we have seen how important maintaining an ongoing system of staff training is to keep food safety standards high in a food business workplace. We also learnt staff training must always be of a standard appropriate to an individual's level of responsibilities. That training consists of 3 levels. 1 for relatively unskilled staff, 2 for those with direct contact with food production, and 3 for supervisory and managerial staff. Training must include induction to basic safety and hygiene techniques and principles. Supervisors must ensure that staff training is up to date and adequate. Detailed training records must be kept to comply with the law and allow a due diligence defense.